Welcome back to One Piece AIM Review. This is part 19C. This one we're talking about the stuff related to film, like talking about the two one shot stuff that leads in the special episode of Luffy, Adventure on Hand Island, Glorious Island, and of course the film One Piece film Z. Now there was an arc in the series related to Z. If you want to hear my thoughts on that, check out part 14, which basically is kind of like 5 or 6 videos back by now. I also wanted to talk about my review of season 15. In the case of this particular one, in the case episode Luffy, it's just basically Luffy and the gang going to this place called Hand Island. Well, they actually ended up by complete accident while trying to avoid the Navy. Yep. This is kind of one of the two lead-ins to the film Z, and we also get a chance to see Kobe and Heppo. Basically, first time post time skip these characters have been seen. Well, that I think I've seen anyways. And Kobe does a lot in this one. Prior to this, when you see him in the actual series, he doesn't really do all that much. He pops up in the first 2 or 3 episodes, disappears for a while, pops up for a couple more episodes, season 1. And he disappears for a long time in the series. He's not seen again in the series until season 9. And then after that, he disappears again. And he's not seen until season 14. And this is actually now, post-time skip, Kobe is a captain. And Hippo, who was basically the son of Axe-Hand Morgan, he's a captain lieutenant, which I'm like, that is not a real rank. I mean, why is he called Captain Lieutenant? This honestly makes no sense. I mean, why not just call him simply Commander or something? At least Captain is a real ranking, and so is Commodore. But Captain Lieutenant, seriously? And of course, Luffy beats up the commander of the Marine bases there, who actually is a crooked Marine. He does something really, really bad. First, he builds this giant cannon which is supposed to protect this town from pirates. And what does he do? First thing he uses practice on the town itself, which is once protected by Whitebeard himself. There is this wax designer who makes wax statues of actual real life of people in the series. I mean, there's wax figures of Shanks, Whitebeard, Ace, Raleigh. Surprised there's no one of Gold Roger. That's a bit surprising. There's no one of Gold Roger. Of course, at the end, he does make one of Luffy. And he does make one of an admiral who does appear in an actual Z film. Yeah, it's quite interesting that he does do that. And when Luffy first meets him, it turns out they show very early on his house is actually hit by the Thousand Sunny by complete accident. Yeah, basically the Thousand Sunny wrecks his house, but even though he's kind of upset, he doesn't want to hit Luffy despite the fact he's a pirate. But yeah, it's kind of nice the fact he's not immediately upset the fact his house is wrecked. But hey, at least in case he wants to get shelter from the rain, he has a basement. He has that, which is basically his workshop, which gotta praise him for that. And also he has this little wax figure of Whitebeard himself, which is made by his son, who's actually a Marine. Yeah, he actually plays a role in this film, in this short, special anyways. Basically, this could have been easily a movie per se, but it's a special. This special is like a good, about an hour and 40 minutes. That's the thing. This is actually the second special I've seen where this could easily be a movie if it wanted to. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really affect much of anything. In the let's say, I mean, it doesn't feel like an action. At least the 3D 2 wide, that feels like an action movie. This one definitely does feel like a special in a way. Where even if you broke this up into a multi-parter, this could easily fill out a good 3 or 4 parts for a story. So they go to rescue the son of the waxmaker, who basically opposed the whole thing. He didn't oppose building the cannon. He opposed basically the cannon be fired at the town, which was put in a cell which was attached to these spinning things that's near the tower. Of course, Luffy tries to get him out, gives him the thing. Sanji, who goes with him, basically Sanji and Usopp go with him on the Mini Mary 2. That's basically what it is. It's actually the only soldier docking system ship boat that that they actually use in this special. Yeah, surprisingly, it's the only one. Yeah, I'm like, there are other ones they also could use. They could use the sub, but nope, they prefer to use the Mini Mary. By the way, the Mini Mary is half the time not used very much in the series. Yeah, I think the last time it was officially used was actually in the most recent arc. I was using the whole cake arc when Brooke and Pedro used it. Yep, in the film, basically, I would have thought maybe one of the girls may have gone with him, like they did with Punk Hazard. But it's just Sanji and Usopp goes with Luffy. And pretty much the same thing happens what happened to Punk Hazard. How these two got volunteered? Simple. They draw short papers. Though in the actual show they used straws. Yeah, that's kind of what happened in the show, where they used Robin, Zoro, and I believe Usopp also went with him as well. So that's not the first time. It's like Usopp, nothing unusual for him. The second time I've seen basically this happen. In the case of Sanji, this is the first time this has happened. It would have been interesting if they had Robin go along, but at least a lot of the straws actually had a chance to do something in this one. Pretty fun story. Interesting idea how this is special. It's a good thing the special is not like 20-30 minutes long. Thank God for that. I mean, it's a good like hour and a half. It's good. The villain itself is not really a big game changer one like the way it was with the 8th one. But it's still a good special nonetheless. And it's only like, I think it's it's only the 4th special they actually released. And there's 12 of these specials. And I've already watched 3 of them. This actually was my 3rd one I watched. Yeah, 3rd one. Good special. I do recommend it. Next one's Glorious Island, which is a quick 11-minute short, which takes place directly before the film C. Just dry food, just goofing off, and the chance to go swimming. Luffy just sitting on the side, Brooke in the water, this pool which actually is attached to the ship, and the pool is actually sort of in the ocean, which is quite weird. And Nami's the only one who does any swimming, and when you see inside the film, she's wearing the same exact outfit as she is in the show in the short. So if you watch the show before the film, you're like, okay. Now if you watch the film before you watch the show, you're probably like, okay, why is there cherry petals falling down? Why is Nami in some suit? Why are they all wearing these outfits? Watch this special before you watch the film, because this special leads directly into the film itself. Z is a quite interesting villain. Of course, this is the second to last film released for the series. Yeah, surprisingly, this is the second to last one released. It's one of the most recent films they released, but it's the second to last one they ever did release. Yeah, it was only released like 5 years ago, surprisingly. Yeah, only 5 years ago they only released this one. Yeah, as far as I can tell, this is the 12th film of the series. Strong World was actually the 10th film. I haven't seen Straw Hat Chase yet. Yeah, this is the second to most recent film released, and the last one came out just last year. I think the dub for this came out like a year later. Let me check this. Let's see. The dub was released. Excuse me. Let's see. Let's see here. It was released in, wow. Okay, so it was released here just about a couple years, at least about 3 years ago. In the dub. I actually watched the dub version of this film. Of course, there's some really interesting moments, like you chance to see Luffy and the gang wear outfits they don't wear in the series, and also something that never happened in the series. There's this Devil Fruit that one of his Zed, he's called Zed in the dub, and the sub is referred to as simply Z Sensei. His female subordinate basically has a Devil Fruit called reverse thing, which turns people back either 10 or either 12 or 20 years. Like, Nami is turned into an 8-year-old. Nami basically becomes 8. Brooke becomes 70. Chopper basically, because I think he's turned back 12 years. Basically, he becomes a 4-year-old. And Robin turns back to being 18. So yeah, not much. She doesn't look that much. I mean, the one person who doesn't look that much difference when he was turned 20 years back was Brooke. It's like very little change with him. At least Nami, basically, at least for him, her and Robin, you actually have a chance to notice the fact. Yeah, they've definitely de-aged. I mean, yeah, you have Nami as a little girl, and then when she becomes like, when she gets the full age restored to her properly being 20, yeah, it's like the small outfit she was wearing later on basically just allows her to show off her belly again. Yeah, which is quite nice. And everything pretty much turned back normal. Luffy has like 3 fights with Z in the film. The first one, basically, he gets barely lucky to get away. The second one, he actually lost because he took away his hat. Yeah. And the third time, he actually won, surprisingly. And unlike Noah villains who just go and just stab, just try to kill the subordinates, yeah, Zed doesn't do that at all. Because even though, yeah, they really supported him, unlike most bad guys, basically, they see their subordinates failed and they would just kill them. Yeah, Zed doesn't do that, surprisingly. Also, this is the first film I've seen where they feature every single admiral that's a feature of the course of the whole series. Though here's kind of the thing. Only one of them actually do something. That's Kizaru. Yeah, the rest of them do jack frickin' squat. Heck, they even have the admiral who has a purple mohawk. Yeah, he appears in this film for like 2 seconds. Yeah, the rest of the admirals, they do jack frickin' squat. They do nothing. I mean, it's like, okay, you have because the fact that the main villain is a former Navy admiral, so let's throw all the Navy admirals and have almost all of them do virtually nothing except Kizaru. Aokichi's in the film. I think this is his first appearance in the films. Though from Louis' perspective, this is the first time since Marineford that I can think of they've actually seen each other. And this, I'd have to see when they see him again, when they see him in a spa of all things. I thought this was really cool. Brooke has never seen Aokiji before. He did not know who Aokiji was at all. They do remember the fact that he actually fought Akaru, the guy who's the current fleet admiral. Luffy asks what happened to his leg, even though the series is supposed to be his arm. I don't know why they changed that for. Yeah, because I remember reading it where apparently in his duel he lost his arm, and yet in the film they show he lost his leg. Which honestly, that makes no freaking sense. Yeah, I don't know why they changed that for. I don't know. It might be a continuity error. That's just a possibility. And he asks him like, what is he doing there? He says, okay, that question I can answer. Because the first 2 questions basically relate to his duel. Yeah. At least Luffy remembered the fact he actually fought a duel. He did not know. I think he forgot that he actually is no longer a Navy admiral. So he has no legal authority, and of course he's wearing his post-time skip outfit. Though, this is quite weird though. When you see him like pre-time skip, it looks like he's pretty thin. And basically since he left the Navy, it kind of looks like, I mean, if you look at him in his post-time skip attire, it kind of looks like he put on some weight. Yeah, that's what it kind of looks like. And he does interact, and basically, he doesn't really talk to Brooke he doesn't talk to Brooke at all, but yeah, he's accounted to pretty much every single Straw Hat crew at that point, except for Frankie and Brooke. Yeah, this is something quite weird. Brooke does not have a conversation with him at all. It's like, hey, it's like, that would be an interesting scene in the movie of Brooke basically introducing himself to Aokiji. Maybe Aokiji's curious of who the heck this skeleton is. The only reason why that Zoro, Brooke, and Luffy were in the spa was because they're actually known figures. Well, in the case of Zoro and Luffy, because they have big bounties on their heads, there's a bunch of Marines everywhere. For Brooke, simply because people will be spooked by his appearance, and Sanji just there just to keep an eye on him. While Robin, Usopp, Chopper, and Nami get information. Nami works as a waitress in a child form. Robin becomes a dancer. Usopp becomes sort of like a Robin's manager. And Chopper becomes a shoe shiner. Yeah, seriously, becomes a shoe shiner. Don't know why, but he does. Um, and I think it's quite interesting. I was like, okay, sharing all these tips, and this bundle looks like it could be a good like 400 berries, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea how much the currency is for that. It looks like the size of the bundle. It looks like it could be about, from American dollars, it could be about, I'd say about $1,000 maybe, but it's a good chunk of money. And the fact that when Z attacked the ship, because they did not know at that point he was brought into a pirate ship, when he was brought on later, when he came on the pirate ship, he damaged the ship heavily. And also they had to go shopping for clothes because their clothes burned. Yeah. Then later on they actually get brand new outfits. Luffy's shirt actually gets burned to a crisp. Like, Brook actually wears, like, he looks like a swashbuckling swordsman, the way he's dressed. And of course Zoro fights for the second time. Actually, he fights for the third time. He fights the female swordsman, the swordswoman. And this is something else I have a small criticism with. How can I mention to her, like, hey, you're like the third swordswoman I've actually met. I don't know why you couldn't say that. That would have been interesting. Like, hey, I think a good continuity right there. I mean, at least the whole thing with Luffy mentioning something about Kiji, that's a good continuity nod right there. But Zoro mentioning the fact that this is the third swordswoman he's met, that would have been interesting. But nope, he didn't say that at all. Luffy fights Zed third time near a volcanic area and wins, surprisingly. He's able to walk back. Basically, during the second fight, he took Luffy's hat, which makes him the first villain to actually take Luffy's hat. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other villain who actually did take his hat. I mean, yeah, he did catch one person during the Amazon Lily arc, where they were wearing his hat, but he got it back. But Zed is the first one to actually take his hat. Yeah, he's the first villain I've ever seen do that. Usually they just don't care about the hat. Oh yeah, and Luffy is concerned that he might go after Shanks next, and he doesn't want him to harm Shanks at all because he promised him that he becomes king of the great pirates and return the hat to him when you get a chance. Though I think Luffy might actually keep the hat because he does a very good job of taking care of it. And plus, he's known as Straw Hat Luffy. It's part of who he is. So it'd be kind of weird to get back a hat that belonged to. And here's something quite interesting though about that particular hat. Originally, the hat belonged to Goldie Roger, who somehow Shanks had a hand on it. That has not been explained yet. And of course, Shanks gave it to Luffy. But yeah, of course, and I forgot to mention this special. They actually do show. First time ever in anime form, they show how Luffy got his scar near his eye. Yeah, he actually did that to himself. Standing on Shanks' ship and slicing himself. He did that basically to prove how much he's a man. And of course, it's an altered scene of basically after that of what happened afterwards, basically where it's closest to the manga, though they do kind of change from the anime. Also, they change in the special of how Luffy meets Kobe. Yeah, it's different because in the anime, he met him on a cruise ship. In the special, in the episode of Luffy, he met him on Alvida's ship, and instead of like sending her flying, she just fell off the ship. Okay, I don't really know why. As far as I can tell, it's the same dialogue, just that it's just quite bizarre that they just changed the setting for the special, yeah. But Garp is in the film. He doesn't really do much of anything. Sengoku was in the film as well. Another character who does virtually nothing. He just stands around. He doesn't get many lines. Garp actually explains Zed's backstory, and it's quite interesting. He mentions that there was a war. The guy who killed it, he basically lost his family, and this probably became one of the warlords. This is something else. Basically, I question like which warlord. What was it? What was it? Doflamingo? Was it anybody? Yeah, from looking, it looked like it could have been a male warlord. But who was it? That's the question. Who was it? It could have been Doflamingo. Yeah, it could have been him anyways. Yeah, that's a question of like, okay, you write the script and you don't have Kobe Bottom ask like, what was the name of the pirate who became a warlord? And they don't bother to ask that question. That would have been really interesting if one of the warlords had a connection to the main villain. I highly doubt it was Boa Hancock. Yeah, her is basically out of the question. From the look of it, it could have been possibly Doflamingo, or it could have been either him or probably one of the other ones, probably one of the male warlords. Yeah, it's probably one of them. They don't say which one, but yeah. I mean, my complaints about the film are very minor at best. Also, Aokiji doesn't even see Frankie at all, which I thought that was weird. Yeah, one of the most awesome scenes of the film, and yeah, it's also awesome seeing the anime basically of Frankie going to well, let's commonly call it I think in the sub it's called Shogun Frankie, basically the Iron Frankie suit, which I thought was really awesome. The fact he used it, I thought was great. They do take down that's what happens to Zed's subordinates. Excuse me. As far as I can tell for these guys, it looks like they're going after Aokiji someplace. They don't say where. But here's the thing. Aokiji doesn't have a boat. He rides around in the ocean on his bicycle. Yeah, he basically uses the bicycle, uses his powers basically, sort of float through the wheels and basically make like a path. Yeah. But as for, let's say, for what happens to these two subordinates, they don't say. Also, it's mentioned that Zed trained all the admirals. Yeah, all the current admirals he trained. Yep, he trained all of them. Well, the blind swordsman guy who appears in Dressrosa, I don't think he trained him at all, but all the original ones that have been seen throughout the course of the series, they've all been trained by him, which is really cool. So at least all these admirals basically have a backstory with him. They also bring up the fact he has a really good taste in beer. I don't think this beer is really real, but yeah, according to Aokiji, he says, "Okay, I drank this because I saw you drink. I thought it was cool." Yeah, I think that may be a pun to basically the fact he's an Iceman, but who knows? The film I give it a 9 out of 10, but it does have a small problems. It has a good story. The villain has a pretty good motivation for what he's doing. Well, he says he wants to wipe the world pirates, but using this very dangerous weapon is kind of silly to use. But at least he has a good motivation for doing it. He wants to kill all pirates because, well, he basically lost his family due to pirates. So, it's a good film. Has minor problems with it. Great animation, surprisingly. Not a lot of CGI, surprisingly, for this particular version. Unlike Strong World, which used some CGI. This one looks like it's all traditional animation, which is a bit of a surprise, because I would have thought with a film, you would use some CGI. But in this film, there's surprisingly no CGI. Okay? Yeah, and Zed himself does die at the end. He gets killed by the Navy. As what happens to his, subordinates, basically, not the top two, but the rest of them. I theorize they're all arrested by the Navy. That's probably what happened to them. It's not stated at all. There's this really cool scene, I think during the credits, where they actually animate drawings that Oda did in the manga of various characters as children. There's one of Doflamingo. I know that's him because I've seen the anime. There's a version of basically all the Straw Hat crew, Trustburger Law, Jinbei. There's a few of them I didn't recognize per se. One will look like a sword of the side. That one could have been Draco Mihawk. Who knows? It's just a theory. One could have been Bathama Kuma. There's one that could have been. This is just a theory. The one stood at the desk. I think that one could have been Boa Hancock. That's just a theory. Robin, you see her a couple times. Well, I think one was definitely Robin because basically I did see her in that purple dress she wore as a child. Another one could have been. There was a couple girls seen with black hair. One I knew definitely was Robin. The other two could have been either Boa Hancock or Robin. Who knows? Nami seen the only snow is her with the orange hair and the orange. Luffy because of the way he dresses, and of course the hat. But yeah, it's nice to see all the characters. Frankie, I think you chance to see him a couple times as a child, which is nice. But yeah, great credits. Everything is good about this movie. Minor problems, but I give the film a 9 out of 10. Okay, so that's it for this part. Stay tuned for part 19D, where I talk about the film Gold plus its two prequels, which are Heart of Gold and Gold Episode 0. Okay, until then, I will see you there. Bye.